All right, everybody, welcome to the Mostly Sports Talk Show. That's right, the Mostly Sports Talk Show is live on YouTube right now. So we're back. It's been 2 weeks. Last time I did a show, I did the Mostly Sports Talk Show about 2 weeks ago, and I didn't talk about sports at all. Today, you're going to get all sports. First thing I want to take care of is I want to introduce something I saw on TikTok today. My old partner, E Dubs from the Murph and E Dubs Show, I think he's starting his own podcast. So, if anybody out there is going to listen to this as a podcast or watch this video, come check it out. You guys might want to, let me go live on TikTok here. All right, I'm going to go on. I'm live on TikTok. If you guys want to check this out, I'm probably not going to respond too much, but go to Keep Talking 365 at YouTube, and we're going to be live. And don't forget to subscribe. This is an all sports talk show today. And I got a lot to talk about. I started off talking about E-Dubs. Now, E-Dubs was my partner in the Murph and E-Dubs show, and I was going through Facebook the other day, his Facebook account, and it seems like he has, I guess he's got a new podcast he's going to start doing. It's going to be called Burgers and Balls. So, all right, E-Dubs, good luck to you and whatever endeavors you're doing. And I'm going to continue to sit here and do the Mostly Sports Talk Show. I am Murph, formerly of the Murph and E-Dubs Sports Talk Show, and now I'm on my own. So, we're going to talk about baseball today. We're going to talk about football. We're going to do a little basketball. But since it's baseball season, I want to talk about the other day and what was supposed to be Fishkill Little League opening day. Now, Fishkill Little League in this area has been near and dear to my heart. I talk about it all the time. But I woke up on Saturday morning and I saw that it was raining. Now, if anybody's been part of Fishkill Little League's family for as long as I have, it always rains on opening day. It always rains. You don't know if you're going to get the games in. You don't know if you're going to get the parade in. Well, needless to say, they had to cancel it again. So opening day for Fishkill Little League is now on April 26th. It kind of sucks for the kids, because the kids really look forward to the parade. It really makes them feel special. It really, allows them to really, show their parents, that they're on part of a team. You get to meet the coach, you get to take pictures. It really is a really wonderful day for the community. It's a wonderful thing for the kids. But I do know that they're going to be having games up there at Shepherd Field. So Shepherd Field is going to be packed again with games, probably Monday through Friday, Saturdays as well. And good luck to Fishkill Little League this year. Hearing that a lot of kids signed up this year. So Fishkill Little League, good luck to you guys. And you guys will hopefully be booming again. As a matter of fact, my nephew is up this week. My nephew lives in Brooklyn. And hold on a second. Yeah. My nephew lives down in Brooklyn, and my nephew happens to be 10 years old, and he'll be 11 in July. But kid's a good athlete. Kid's a really good baseball player, and I really do wish the kid come up here and play some baseball so I could get back into coaching at Fishkill Little League, and I don't know, maybe eventually coach a team with my son, maybe get him on a travel team when he becomes 12, and eventually get to Cooperstown and coach him. But I don't know. We'll see if that happens. I would definitely get back involved in coaching if my nephew moved up here. But for now, I'm going to go check out some of the games probably this week and throughout the summer. So Fishkill Little League, it's good luck to you guys because you guys definitely made an impact on my family's life. So speaking about baseball, now it is the season. It is my favorite season. It is baseball season. Well, you wouldn't think so by the weather out there. It's very raw, very damp, very wet out there today. But it is baseball season, and first 2 weeks of the season are in the books. And the New York Mets are in first place, and they are 8-5. Game last night that really, I don't know, they didn't play too well. I guess Pete went 0 for 4, but you can't really put all that on Pete because Pete's been playing well. But I'm going to talk about the weather here. Now, there's 162 games in a baseball season. I understand there's teams that are spread out throughout the country, and throughout the country, they have different types of weather. But I went to a baseball game on Saturday night with my son. We didn't go to opening day because we just didn't go to opening day, but we had tickets for the next one. So Saturday was a raw, rainy day, and they were definitely going to get this game in. So we decided to go down there. It was a good game. I guess it was kind of actually a boring game because of the weather. If you guys watched that game the other night, it was very cold and there wasn't really too much going on. And to play baseball in this constant mist and to watch a baseball game in this constant mist, it's kind of annoying when you think about it. The bulk of the baseball games throughout the year, when you think about you're going to go to the stadium and watch a baseball game, you're going to think about beautiful weather, sunny afternoon, no rain, not a cloud in the sky. Some places have domes, which, Mr. Cohen, I guess Uncle Stevie, as they call you, that might be a pretty good idea for maybe you to eventually get a dome on there. But I guess to some of the people who really like to see baseball outside, I do, I guess. But the other night was a very uncomfortable night watching a baseball game. Mets again, Toronto. Now, admittingly, this never really happens because we always stay till the end. But like we said, it's kind of a boring game. We drank about 4 or 5 hot chocolates. Our bodies were still cold. And my son looked at me and says, Dad, I can't believe I'm saying this. Like, maybe we're going to get out of here. So we left. We left in the sixth inning. By the time we got home, Francisco Lindor hit a sacrifice fly and they won the game. So either or, if we stayed and they won, I guess we would have been happy. Would have still been cold. But we looked at each other and says, you know what, though, I'm happy we left and I'm happy we heard the Mets win on the radio because that really sucked. Last year we went to the second game of the season. I remember we sat pretty much the same seats, and it was a beautiful day, 75 degrees and sunny. But that's baseball in the Northeast. So the Northeast is not too conducive for October, November baseball either, which I'm hoping that both of our teams, the Mets and the Yankees, are going to be playing around that time. Which leads me to a conundrum that people were talking about on sports talk radio. Now, I don't understand what they're talking about because, as far as a baseball purist goes, a lot of baseball purists will say that it's a 162 game season. You can't take away any games, and you can't take away any games because of records. You can't take away any games because of monetary means, and people are all making money. People are playing. People are going to the games. There's all sorts of contracts. There's all sorts of television contracts. But when you're playing a game in the Northeast in November and it's the World Series and there could be possibly a snowstorm, they got to start thinking about stuff like that. Like maybe Steve Cohen, like I said before, maybe thinking about getting a dome on City Field there because I don't know about you guys out there, Met fans. The Mets are looking pretty good to me right now. And the fact that they could be playing November baseball this year could be pretty good sign that maybe we'll get a dome put on City Field eventually. I don't know how much that will cost. Or I don't know how much time will be lost as far as like what we have to miss out on a season at City Field to have the dome put in. But I don't know. To get some iron workers up there, put them up there for a season and get a dome, retractable dome put on City Field. I think that would be pretty good because the Mets are going to be good for a long time. And if we're going to be going to some playoff games and World Series, I think it would be a lot better if we had a dome to sit there in nice, comfortable weather. I got to tell you, when you're young, when you go to these games with your friends and you run around and you're drinking vodka, or you're drinking some beers, or I may not even be drinking, just full of testosterone and your team is winning and it's just crazy. And it's like you'd go to a football game. Like, I don't know if you guys remember, the real maniacs back in like the 90s and the 80s. Like if you were a Chicago Bear fan and, Soldier Field, packed Soldier Field, they're playing, let's say, I don't know, say the Green Bay Packers, you could reciprocate for both of their fans. There's always those guys out there that have their shirts off. And they just run the smoke's bellowing out of their ears, the smoke's bellowing out of their mouth. They're cheering for their team, and it's just for a reason. Guys got their shirts off. It's just out of control. Now, team like Minnesota played in they played in a dome, but the weather, for baseball is a lot different. Now, the fandom is a little bit different. I mean, because baseball is a game where you sit there for 9 innings. You watch a baseball game, stuff happens, stuff doesn't happen. You can wait, get up and get a drink, and you come back and your team could still be up, or it could be a 1, 2, 3 inning. I happen to like that about baseball. Baseball is a game where I think I've explained this in the past. When you think about football, it's like as soon as the ball is kicked in football, it's just one constant moment. It's just go, 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 go. It's like, the quarterback gets the ball, throws the ball, touchdown, defense is on the field, kick a field goal. It's just go, 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 go constantly. There's really no time to stop and think. Basketball, you're always passing the ball. Well, sometimes there's a stop and play because somebody wants to flop on the ground, or maybe there's a timeout, but for the most part, you go, go, go with basketball. I'll even bring soccer into the equation, hockey into the equation. Think of all these sports that are team sports that they just go, 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 go constantly. And if you're not moving, if you're sitting, if you're not sitting, you're moving. And you shouldn't be sitting because there's always a chance that you're going to go back in. That's what these sports are all about. Then you get baseball. Baseball is a kind of sport where, well, back to my point about football. Football is kind of one big moment from the kickoff to the end of the game. When you look at baseball, Baseball could be a couple of good moments in the first couple of innings, and then maybe there's a little bit of a lull because it's a pitcher's duel going on. I like to look at baseball as like a whole bunch of big moments all wrapped up into one. Now, obviously, the biggest moment is when the game is over and your team either walks off victorious or they walk off in failure. Baseball is a game of failure. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some. Did I think the Mets were going to go 162 and 0 this year? Maybe. But once they lost that first game to Houston, it's like, you know what? They can maybe win 161 games. And as I could see, that's not going to happen either. But they are at this moment in first place. But back to the point that I was saying about the games. Now, you can't shorten the season. Can't shorten the season because everybody this day wants to talk about who's the greatest player of all time, who's got the most home runs, who's got the best average, who's the best pitcher. You really can't quantify that if you lessen the amount of games. And I understand there's a lot of football records that were changed back in the day, but that was a long time ago. A long time ago, I guess, when Jim Brown was considered to be the greatest running back of all time. I think that they only played 9 games. But what's happening now is people are starting to get to a point where the weather is affecting where they're playing. Now, I don't know if they already get off days, which they're entitled to their off days. Maybe we should plug in some double headers. Remember the double header back in the day where you would go, you pay one price, you'd be there for 1 o'clock and a 4 o'clock game. I know it was a long day, but if you're a baseball fan, you sat there and you watched and you listened and you had a great day at the park. You had a couple of hot dogs, you had a couple of beers, you get to hang out with your friends, get to go with your dad, your mom, your friends, wherever it may be. It's always a beautiful day at the baseball field. But there's so much focus on the fact that this one is better because he has more home runs. This one's better because he has a better average. So taking away the amount of games, making it maybe 150 or 152 or whatever it may be, it's really going to take away from the beauty of what baseball is. Now, football season, there are times when it's the first game of the season. Holy shit. Then you turn around, wow, the Super Bowl's here already. Baseball is kind of like a marathon. It's not a sprint. You got to sit there. And if you're a fan of your team, there is a good chance that every single night you're going to come home, you're going to sit down to dinner, and you're going to put the TV on. Your favorite team is going to be playing. You can have a conversation with your family. You can eat dinner. There's a lot of stuff you could do while baseball is being played. Then you got the real crazy fans, like, I guess me and my son, and, a lot of other people I know, where they could literally just sit there and watch baseball from first pitch to last pitch and critique it in a way that you see. Like, baseball is something that you could sit there and you could critique the way a player is playing. You critique a move. The best thing to me is like when we sit here and we think that just because we coached a little league team like I did, or just because we coached travel teams, or just because we watched this, that we could question the moves of a coach. That being said, if you have coached any kind of youth sports, if you have watched any kind of competition with young kids, you got to get in there and you got to coach, right? And and really at the end of the day is you're really coaching young kids and try to turn them into young men so they could be successful at whatever they may do. If you're lucky, you get a couple of kids that come out of your town that maybe they become a major league baseball player, or go to the NFL or go to the NBA. But the chances are, if you live in a town, or if you even live in a big city, that the numbers as you get, older and older and older, as you go through, let's just say, for instance, little league to travel to high school, to college, to major leagues, that number gets significantly smaller. So when you're a coach, you're really kind of coaching and teaching kids kind of how to, kind of how to set themselves and kind of how to be a member of a team, or kind of how to like take authority, or kind of, you know, be dependent on maybe other people, and you have, people put their faith in you to do the same. But coaching in the major league level, these guys are doing it for a career. Like, it's kind of like me. All right, if I'm in New York City and I'm working and I'm building a building, and I'm on the 30th floor, and there's some guy in a suit walking by that, let's just say he's a Wall Street guy, and he looks at me and says, "Hey, you're doing your job wrong." No, I'm not. Because how do you know I'm doing my job wrong? You're whatever. You're a Wall Street guy. It's kind of like how we are as fans. But that brings the beauty to the conversation that we have outside, and the way we discuss sports with each other. That's really what that banter is all about. I'm not a Major League Baseball coach, but I could observe a game and say, wow, this guy should have done that. And then maybe somebody will disagree with me. But you know what, though? That's the beauty of sports. That's what gives men stuff to talk about, and some women. but for the most part, it's fodder for men to talk about. And right now, there is a lot going on. Now, as you guys know, I'm a Mets fan. Now, the Major League Baseball season started the other day, and I was psyched. My son was psyched. My friends were psyched. All baseball land was right again. If you're a Mets fan, we're looking at a team today that is 8-5, which is a lot better than we were last year. If you're a Yankee fan, you're looking at your team, which is probably, I think, maybe what, 8-6. But you know what, though? It's the beginning of the season. Now, we tend to get really into the first couple of weeks of baseball season. What I mean by that is, let's take last year, for instance. We all know that the Mets made a really good run. We all know that there's a lot of games in the beginning of the season that really were detrimental to the end of that Mets season and that Mets run that could have been the difference of them winning the division and not winning the division. But we also have to realize that there's players right now and there's teams right now that are doing stuff that they don't normally do. That always happens in the beginning of the season. It always happens. Football is too short of a season to recover from something like that, to gain from something like that. Now, what I mean by that is the leaderboards in major leagues right now. Wilmer Flores, 6 home runs. We all know Wilmer Flores. Wilmer Flores, we love him as Met fans. Wilmer Flores was on the field crying because he didn't know he was going to get traded from the Mets. And it was caught by surprise when they put it up on the board. And I guess he was caught a little off guard. Maybe he started tearing up a little bit. That warmed the heart of Met fans. And Wilmer Flores will forever be in the heart of, you've got a flash goal. What the hell does that mean? All right, well, I should be looking at this TikTok thing a little more, but there's players right now that are doing stuff that listen, is Wilmer Flores going to hit 60 home runs this year? I don't think so. Is who else? I was looking this up before. We got what the leaderboard is all about. We got the leader in home runs, we got the leader in average. There's a lot of guys right now that are playing like pretty much, above what they normally do. But I got to tell you one player right now that everybody thinks is playing above what he's trying to do that's my boy Pete Alonso. Now I'm going to go around major leagues a little bit. I'm going to talk about some of the different teams. Being that I'm a Mets fan, I'm going to tell you what I've observed so far as a New York Mets fan. Now, first couple of games, look, we played the Houston Astros, okay? We were in Houston. Houston took 2 from us. It's a little bit of a warm-up, Pete hit a big home run, Pete Alonso is going to wind up being probably one of our better signings this year. What I mean by that is everybody gets so caught up in the fact that we gave Juan Soto $760 million. $760 million is a boatload of money, a shit ton of money, and I understand. So that's why, if you really want to look at it, that's why everybody wants to know what Juan Soto's doing. What Juan Soto's doing right now is really not too much, okay? What Francisco Lindor is doing right now is really not that much. Now, Francisco Lindor, if everybody knows, is probably one of my all-time favorite baseball players. I liked him in Cleveland. I knew he was going to do well when he became a Met. And I just knew that one day we were going to be looking at him and saying, there's a possibility that this guy could get an MVP. And that was last year. And last year, I guess, when you play in the same division of somebody of the likes of Godzilla or somebody in the likes of Shohei Ohtani, it's kind of hard to get the MVP because that guy pitches, he hits, he joined the 50-50 club last year, but we're talking about Alonso, we're not talking about him. Pete Alonso, let's go into him for a second, okay? Now, I think in the beginning of the season, Pete Alonso was playing a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. I don't think there was any point in time where Pete Alonso was going to go to another team. I don't think that there is anything that you could tell me to make me believe that another team was going to give Pete Alonso the amount of money that the New York Mets were willing to give him in the beginning there. Because Pete Alonso is one of those guys that I think that is, I guess you would say he's a product of his environment. Now, being a product of his environment, I'm looking for a specific page here, so I'm looking for a stat. Pete Alonso is a product of his environment, being he was very comfortable in the New York Mets uniform. He was very comfortable hearing the Pete Alonso chants in Citi Field. He was very, very comfortable in that lineup. But what Pete Alonso also saw was Juan Soto going into that lineup. What Pete Alonso also saw was Juan Soto in that lineup again. I know I just said Juan Soto, but Francisco Lindor have an MVP season last year. What he did see was Nimmo starting to become a much better hitter. What Pete Alonso did see was these are my friends, these are my boys. These guys are all hitting. You're going to plug me at the 3 spot, the 4 spot. There's nowhere to hide. You got to pitch to me. Now, Pete Alonso is getting off to a great start. He's a doubles machine. He's got 4 home runs. He's got 18 RBIs. Now, if he keeps up at this pace, he's going to bat 365. He's going to have 60 home runs, and he's going to have 150 RBIs. In no way, shape, or form do I think that's happening. Now, Pete Alonso is. Let's go back to the point that I think Pete Alonso is a product of his environment. He loves it in Citi Field. When he walks up to that plate and he's swinging that bat with all that confidence, and everybody's yelling Pete Alonso, he loves it. Okay, he eats it up. There's no way he was going to go to Chicago and have to reinvent himself. There was no way he was going to go to Cleveland, let's just say, and have to reinvent himself. The fans in New York already loved Pete. Now, we already loved Pete, right? Now, for you to think out there, if you had any kind of inkling that he was going to leave, this was just a ploy to kind of carry Met fans along a little bit, because at the end of the day, Pete Alonso was signing a contract anyway. But there is one thing that I think was in the back of Pete Alonso's head. The name Vladimir Guerrero. Vladimir Guerrero, as we all know, is the son of one of the greatest hitters that I've ever seen, Vladimir Guerrero Sr. He's not his dad, but he's a good player. Okay, now Vladimir Guerrero was kind of plugging along with the Toronto Blue Jays, not signing a contract. I might sign the contract. Give me an extension. I want this. I want that. But at that point, maybe somebody like Pete Alonso thinks, is my owner talking to Vladimir? Is Guerrero going to be here next year? Am I going to be in a situation where I'm going to have to be either DH or not play first? So in Pete Alonso's head, Pete Alonso's thinking, all right, I just signed my contract with the Mets. Okay. Now, don't think for a second that Boras didn't have a finger in saying, give him $30 million a year on a 2-year contract. That makes Pete Alonso yearly the highest paid first baseman in baseball, with incentives and maybe an extension after he plays this year. Pete Alonso is going to make a lot of money, but he has to continue to play the way he's playing. Back to Vladimir Guerrero for a second. First couple of weeks in the season, Pete looked maybe he was hitting the ball. He wasn't smiling too much. He was getting up there with a real FU attitude. Okay. Still hitting the ball. I'm just talking about the first couple of games here. Toronto comes to town. Guerrero's on the other side. So right there, Guerrero's on the other side of the ball with him, and he's looking at him saying, you could quite possibly take my job. You want $500 million? You want $600 million? I'm going to show you who the first baseman in New York City is. I'm going to tell you who the first baseman of the New York Mets is, and that's me. Okay, so Pete Alonso, I kind of watching the game the other night, Vladimir Guerrero got the first base. And Pete Alonso's normally like a guy. It's like, hey, what's going on, everybody? How you doing? Nope. Pete Alonso turns his back and say, I'm not looking at this guy because you, in my eyes, are my competition. Well, needless to say, Vladimir Guerrero signed an extension worth $500 million. Vladimir Guerrero is going to be a Toronto Blue Jay up there in Canada for the rest of his career. Barring any obstacles, barring any injuries, and barring any, I'm just not happy in Toronto. Maybe I could get him my contracts. He is going to be a Toronto Blue Jay for a very, very long time. Back to Pete Alonso. Pete Alonso's got that thing off his shoulder now, that chip. Pete Alonso's got clarity. Pete Alonso's got, I am now the first baseman of the New York Mets. I am now going to play first baseman like the New York Mets. Pete Alonso, continue what you're doing there at first base, and we'll gladly have you every single day. Every day is not going to be like a home run day. Everybody's not going to be, a 3 doubles and a triple day. No. Yesterday was 0 for 4. But you know what, Pete? That's baseball. Sometimes that happens. Other people on the team got to start picking you up. Other people, like I said to you before, my favorite player yesterday. Let's start with yesterday's game, for instance. Lindor, 0 for 3 and a walk. Soto, 0 for 2, 2 walks. Alonso went 0 for 4. Can't kill him. Nimmo had the only big hit of the day. He hit a home run. Nimmo's batting 206 with 4 home runs. He's batting 206, but yeah, he's got 4 home runs. He's got to start hitting. Marte's kind of like the sage mindset, the older guy, like the more focused guy, talking to the younger guys. He had a detrimental part in Alvarez breaking out last year in the playoffs by having a conversation with him. Marte, you're going to stick around. You're going to be with this team. You got to start doing some more than 0 and 4. Vientos. Mark Vientos. I can remember last year being down in North Carolina. I can remember being on vacation on the beach, listening to Mark Vientos hit big home run after big home run, get big play at third base, hit a big double, steal a base, RBI. Mark Vientos, season over. We have our third baseman of the future. Sophomore Jinx comes in. Mark Vientos is batting 0.70. He got a hit yesterday. Mark Vientos actually got a hit yesterday. He's got 10 strikeouts, 13. I'm sorry, he's got 10 strikeouts and 31 at bats. Let's not even discuss Brett Beatty. Now, there are people out there that are Met fans that think Brett Beatty should have a shot to make this baseball team. Me, on the other hand, I think Brett Beatty needs to go home and go back to Long Island or wherever he's from and reassess the situation. Or maybe the Mets are trying to pump him up a little bit. Maybe the Mets think he's a little bit better than he actually is. Needless to say, I do not think that Brett Beatty is going to have a future on this baseball team. Maybe he needs to get out of New York. Maybe he needs to go to a quiet town. Maybe he needs to go to Cleveland. But I don't think Brett Beatty has what it takes to be the second baseman of the New York Mets. Jeff McNeil is coming back in a couple of weeks, maybe next week, maybe the week after. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Jeff McNeil. I would actually like to just see Acuna there for every single day. But I know it's lefties or righties, but I know Beatty plays for one side, Acuna plays for the other side. But I would like to see Beatty go down and not see him for the rest of his Mets tenure. Maybe send him to Syracuse, maybe send him to Brooklyn, maybe send him somewhere where he could play baseball. Because I'll tell you right now, when he's down there in the minors, he kills it. The minute he comes up here, he looks like a minor league baseball player. So let's give Brett Beatty a shot and give him a shot down in the minor leagues. Maybe he'll come back when he's 30, like our catcher, like this, what's his name here? That Hayden, what the hell is his name? I don't even know his name. Kid's 30 years old, finally got a shot to come up to the major leagues. And right now he's platooning at catcher. And we need a platoon at catcher right now because Alvarez is hurt. So he's going to be back in a couple of weeks. Broke his thumb. Let's just say from what Carlos Mendoza said yesterday that they're giving him time. Now, they're also giving Jeff McNeil a little time, but Jeff McNeil is not an integral part of this Mets going forward to playoffs and possibly a World Series. McNeil, he could come or go. Maybe we'll trade him. I don't know. I just don't think McNeil is what everybody thinks he is. Maybe he's not a good fielder. He hits for average, and he didn't hit for average last year. He's kind of like a pain in the ass. So I would definitely like to see Jeff McNeil getting the hell out of here and maybe pursuing some other city or maybe pursuing maybe another sport. I hear he's a good golfer. But Jeff McNeil, not a big fan of him. But I am waiting for Francisco Alvarez to come back to this team. We're doing pretty good at catcher without him. But this is a kid right now that's supposed to be one of those players that's going to be a culture-changing person, culture-changing position. Now, when he gets back with his energy in that locker room, with his energy, maybe he could feed off Siri, like Siri in center field. Siri's got a lot of energy. Between all these Spanish players running around, dancing around the field, all these like Pete Alonso with his arrogance, Francisco Lindor with his confidence, the rest of this team going forward, 8-5. It's not too bad. Because last year I was looking down the barrel of a terrible season. Last year I was looking at my Mets as this is not a baseball team that I want to follow this year. This is a baseball team that I'm going to have to take a little bit of a break from. But needless to say, week in, we come back. New York Mets are starting to win some baseball games. New York Mets are starting to win some series. New York Mets made the playoffs. New York Mets lost in the National League. I'm sorry. I just got very distracted with something that's going on the television right now. They lost to the Dodgers. The Dodgers went to the World Series. I was a little upset in the beginning. I really was, I'll be honest. But then when I sat back, I looked at the television as the Dodgers were cheering and the Dodgers were on their way to another World Series. Thought to myself, I took a break from this baseball team 2 weeks into the season. In no way, shape, or form did I think that the New York Mets will be playing for a chance to play in the World Series. No way, shape, or form did I think Vientos would have the season that he had. No way did I think that Lindor would climb back. And if not for Shohei Ohtani doing that 50-50, probably being an MVP. All of these players that came together, all of these players showed up for the fans. And Carlos Mendoza, I gave you a lot of shit the first couple of weeks of last season, but you put this talent together. Wasn't Grimace, wasn't the stupid Hawk Tua girl. It was a bunch of guys that came to play baseball. And Carlos Mendoza, I'm giving you your kudos now because it's the beginning of the year. Last year, you took a baseball team further than any of us as Met fans thought that you could possibly take them. And almost brought us to a World Series. Let's get these guys together and let's go to the World Series this year. Our pitching is very lax right now. Manaea is not playing. Senga doesn't really look like what he was supposed to look like. McGill, under 1 ERA, 1-1, bunch of strikeouts, and Clay Holmes. Clay Holmes, yeah, the one that used to pitch in the Bronx. He's got 20 strikeouts and he's 1-1. But on the other end of the spectrum, that's our pitching staff right now. That's going to lose us baseball games because I don't think that Clay Holmes as our number one and Tyler McGill or Kodai Senga as our number two just doesn't sound like a team that's going to show up in the World Series and say, now pitching game 1, World Series at Citi Field, Clay Holmes. Just doesn't sound right to me. So maybe, just maybe, one of these pitchers is going to be a little unhappy in one of their teams. One of their team maybe not be playing well. Maybe they want a nice move. But all I know is when Manaea comes back, and if we could get our hands on one of those diamond in the rough number 2s that just comes out of nowhere, the Mets are going to be a tough team to beat this year because they're 8-5. And as I explained, the Mets are not hitting that well. Pete is hitting the baseball. Pete is winning baseball games. Lindor's getting a couple of sac flies here and there. Winker, 2 triples and a double on a cold Saturday night last week. He's going to bring some fire every once in a while, but he's not going to be that everyday guy. Vientos, like I said to you, don't get caught up in that sophomore jinx. Get out of your own head and let's play some goddamn baseball. Soto, I got one thing to say. I don't know if anybody else has noticed this. Maybe Yankee fans noticed this. Maybe when you were out there in right field, sitting out there observing. Juan Soto doesn't sit still. Juan Soto fidgets in the outfield more than a 10-year-old in right field. There was actually a point in the game last week where the pitch was coming and Juan Soto was still jogging out to the field because he was talking to somebody in the bullpen. If he was on my little league team, he'd be doing laps for days. But he's nuts. He's not. He's Juan Soto, the $700 million player, and he is fidgeting in right field. You're not really doing too much in New York yet to be fidgeting. Well, maybe you did stuff for the other New York team, but you really haven't showed anything in the New York Mets uniform now where you could be out there just fidgeting. So that's kind of my little soliloquy on what I think the New York Mets are in the beginning. I know, listen, I think this team's going to be there at the end. I think this team is going to win the division because the team that won the division last year is really not playing that well. You got the Atlanta Braves. The Atlanta Braves are going down the tubes, but they have a really good baseball team. So you never know where they're going to be. Spencer Schwellenbach, good pitcher. So the Braves are probably still going to be there. The Phillies, never count the Phillies out. The reason why I'm talking about these two teams is it's going to give you my synopsis on the Yankees, but in all honesty, I don't care about the Yankees. Now, when I say I don't care about the Yankees, it's not I hate the Yankees or I just don't care what they do. I don't care about Garrett Cole. I don't care about Stanton injured. I don't care about Aaron Judge. I don't care about Aaron Judge dropping balls in the World Series. I don't care about any of this stuff. I don't care about torpedo bats. I don't care about that stuff. I care about the Phillies. I care about the Phillies. I feel like the Braves, the Padres, the Dodgers. These are teams. You want to get rid of some baseball games? You want to shorten the season? You want to get rid of some games? Get rid of interleague play. Interleague play is a terrible idea from the start. Interleague play, you go into a realm of these games really don't matter. You're taking away from real games that matter in the division, real games that matter in your own division. These games in the American League, in the National League, do they generate revenue? Maybe, but they don't mean anything. At the end of the day, they don't mean anything. Put more games with the Phillies, more games with the Braves, and hell, let's go out to LA. Let's go out to San Diego more. Let San Francisco come here. Let's keep it in our division because you know why? At the end of the day, those divisional games are going to be the ones that matter. Yankee fans, don't worry about Juan Soto. Don't worry about what the Mets are doing in Queens. You got to worry about the Boston Red Sox, who, if you look at the Boston Red Sox, are a young team. They're a young, hungry team. They're a team that's been getting progressively better as the years go on. They sucked a couple of years ago. They won 3 World Series in the last 15 years, a couple of years ago. Then they went on a rebuilding process. I don't know if you're watching that documentary on Netflix. They got a star in Durant, 14 triples last year. Kid's going to be on his way to possibly getting an MVP maybe in the next couple of years. The Boston Red Sox are coming back, guys. So Yankee fans, that's what you got to worry about. You got to worry about the average year 25-year-old infield of the Baltimore Orioles. Gunnar Henderson. You got to worry about these guys. Ryan Mountcastle. You got to Jackson Holiday. Jackson Holiday might be not doing too good right now. Jackson Holiday's 21. So for everybody out there that's counting the Baltimore Orioles out, the Baltimore Orioles are going to be in and out for maybe this might be the last year they might be in and out. They're young. They lost Corbin Burns this year. That was huge. But at the end of the day, they are a young baseball team who's going to come back. That just is what it is. So Yankee fans, stop at the Mets suck chant in Yankee Stadium. And Met fans, stop at the Yankees suck chants in Citi Field. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Worry about our own teams and worry about the people who are in our radar, our divisional teams. That's who we got to worry about. That's who we got to worry about winning and losing, not the Yankees. So Yankee fans, I'm not giving you my report on the Yankees because I really don't care what the Yankees are doing right now. That's my bottom line. Got a couple of things to say about the NBA. I wasn't going to go on too long today. I got some NFL stuff I was going to go over, but I got some stuff to say about the NBA. The NBA playoffs are starting this week. The NBA playoffs, I hate to say it, are probably going to be pretty exciting. You know why? Because if you're a basketball fan, you're used to watching dribble. When I mean dribble, I don't mean bouncing the ball. I mean shit. For 40 games, if you're a fan of the NBA, if you have a team that you root for over and over and over again, they don't play. They don't try. 40 games in, maybe a team starts hitting it hard at 50 games. By 60 games in, everybody is going full gear. Now, this is what we got. We got the teams that are there. We got the teams that we know are going to do what they're going to do. You got teams that they know they're supposed to be there. And there's a couple of teams that are, holy shit, I can't believe we're here. But needless to say, the NBA playoffs are starting this week with the 82nd game today. Now, after the NBA fixed the LeBron James, did I say the LeBron James? After the NBA fixed the Lakers Mavs trade and brought Luka Doncic over to the Lakers so LeBron could possibly compete for his, I don't know, whatever ring he has. The Lakers all of a sudden became an instantaneous contender. Now, people want to say they're an instantaneous contender because of LeBron James, because he just brings that kind of energy to the court. He just brings that kind of, he's the greatest player of all time. Some people think he's tenacity. He's 40 and he's still doing it at a high level. The Lakers win anything this year, it's going to be because of Luka Doncic. Now, you can make the comparisons all you want about Michael Jordan and LeBron James, but if the Lakers happen to win a championship this year, which I'll explain to you guys in a couple of minutes, that there's a possibility they could pull it off, but it's not going to be because of LeBron James. And it's going to be because of one Luka Doncic. Now, when they're hoisting that trophy, that happens to happen in Los Angeles, and the MVP of the finals is Luka Doncic. There's going to be a lot of egg on the face of LeBron James fans. But knowing the NBA, even if LeBron James doesn't play as good as Luka, he's still going to get the MVP because, guys, that trade was so fixed. That trade was so shady. That trade was so out of pocket that how could it's almost like they were playing fantasy sports and they tried to sneak a trade in and nobody was there in time to veto it because that's happened in some in some leagues that I'm in. But that's almost like what happened. Oh, we woke up one morning and Doncic was wearing a jersey that said the Lakers on it. Well, you got what you wanted, LeBron James. Now, see if you can win a championship because the Cavaliers, the Cavaliers are that team that you look at the standings and you're like, wow, the Cavaliers are in first place. 3 weeks in, wow, the Cavaliers are still in first place. 40 games in, they're still in first place. 80 games in, number one seed. Okay. The Cleveland Cavaliers are doing it with kind of like, I don't know, who's who of talented basketball players. Donovan Mitchell, big name. Donovan Mitchell left the Suns to come to a Cleveland Cavaliers team that was going to rely on him a lot. Well, that team is playing with a lot of good chemistry. That team is playing the way a team that wins championships should play. That team's playing with a bunch of role players, a couple of stars, and a coach that believes in them. That's what you need in basketball. You need a team that the coach believes in you, and you need a team where the players are going to play together and not think that I'm the star, you're the star. Donovan Mitchell might be the big name, but the whole team of the Cavaliers are the stars. And look out for the Cavaliers. Now, the Celtics are hungry. The Celtics want to repeat. Jason Tatum, always up there for top 5 in MVP. Sorry, Jason, you're probably not getting it again this year because there's a couple of players that are really, really good this year. But Tatum, you are the MVP of the Boston Celtics. You are the guy that's averaging 27 points, 9 rebounds. You are the guy that's averaging 37 minutes. You are the guy that they're giving you the ball at all times to make that shot. But you know what the Celtics have too? The Celtics have Jaylen Brown. Now, Jaylen Brown, very, very good number 2. He likes to think maybe sometimes that he's up there and him and Tatum are kind of on the same keel, but I don't think so. Jaylen Brown's really good, but Jason Tatum is an MVP caliber player. Okay. Jaylen Brown's averaging 23 points, 34 minutes, and 6 rebounds. It's a big help to that team. And the two of them together are electric. I also like the fact that he said something about Ja Morant the other day about what, all the antics that he's up to. That kid's a head case. But the fact of the matter is the Boston Celtics are another team that have a bunch of really good role players, a bunch of really good players that come in the clutch. You still got 95-year-old Al Horford grabbing rebounds. You got Jrue Holiday, 11 points averaging. You got Derek White, 17 points he's averaging this year. They got the coach, young, hungry, and not, we won last year. We don't need to win this year. The Boston Celtics have a team right now where they're hungry to win this year again. And everybody else needs to just get out of the way. Cleveland, you're going to have your hands full. The Knicks, I don't know how you're going to contend with them. The Pacers, I don't know. Celtics coming out of the East, guys. And Knicks fans, sorry to tell you, the Knicks do not have enough firepower to stop that Boston Celtics offense. I don't even think they have enough to stop the Detroit Pistons, who they're playing in the first round. The Knicks had 50 wins this year. Jalen Brunson missed a couple of weeks down the run there, still averaged 26 points in 34 minutes. The Knicks got Karl-Anthony Towns this year. Karl-Anthony Towns comes to Madison Square Garden, and all of a sudden, let's just give the trophy to the New York Knicks. The New York Knicks are still the New York Knicks. Josh Hart, great player. Jalen Brunson, great player. Karl-Anthony Towns, great player. But they don't play defense. They gotta stop these big players. You're not stopping Jason Tatum. You're not stopping Donovan Mitchell. You're not stopping any of these high-powered point guards. The Knicks are going to have to toughen up their defense. They're going to have Jalen Brunson score and play defense. Josh Hart, you're going to have to get tough. Karl-Anthony Towns, put both floors on the court and start kicking somebody's ass. Because you know what? That's what they need out of you. They don't need you to hit 3-pointers. They need you to kick somebody's ass underneath the basket and let everybody else do what they do. Fortunately, I don't think the Knicks have enough firepower to get past a couple of these teams. I mean, you got the Pistons. This Cade Cunningham kid is playing really well this year. And the Pistons are a team that should scare you guys, Knicks fans, because They came to play this year too. They don't have enough firepower to win a championship this year, but I can tell you right now, the Detroit Pistons have enough firepower to take out the New York Knicks in the first round. Pacers at a 4 seed. Pacers are always right there, middle of the road. They're going to show up. Milwaukee needs Lillard. Milwaukee needs Dame time. I don't know if they're going to get it, but Giannis Antetokounmpo is a top 3 player in the league right now. He's averaging over 30 points again. He's averaging assists. He's averaging rebounds. He's doing it all with a smile. He's doing it all in Milwaukee. So if they don't do something quick, if Damian Lillard doesn't come back quick to get some help on that side, I don't know. Giannis might be gone next year. This might be the last year that Milwaukee's going to have, going to have some kind of run at a championship with Giannis Antetokounmpo. And I think I'm pronouncing his name correctly, because if they don't do something this year, he's going to be looking to run, and maybe he might run to LA and have LeBron get out of there and then have them go on a run. Because I would love to see the Lakers go on a run without LeBron James. Again, I know I'm hating on LeBron James a little bit, but they got the Magic, the Heat, and the Bulls. They're just waiting to lose. They might win today. They might get the 8 seed. They might get the 7 seed. But you know what, though? At the end of the day, there's teams at the top of this division that are just way too strong for these bottom teams. Top 4 teams in the East are way too strong. Maybe in the future, who knows? But if any team comes out of that bottom 4, it's going to be a surprise in the East. The East is playing some pretty tough basketball. Now you're going to focus over here on the West. Now the West has OKC. Now the Oklahoma City Thunder. Oklahoma City Thunder have the best player in basketball. That's what everybody says. Let's see him do it in the playoffs. Now he's got some help. Jamal Williams playing good basketball. Shai Alexander, 33 points. He's averaging almost a double-double with almost 10 assists. He's carrying that team. Not really, but he's the only person on that team last year that realized it was the playoffs. So in order for the Oklahoma City Thunder this year to win a championship, because this team, as put together, can win a championship, is they all got to realize they can win a championship. They all have to realize that it's not last year where we were youngsters. We're getting a little older. Now, the Oklahoma City Thunder are here. The Oklahoma City Thunder are here to play tough basketball. And Shai Alexander is ready to go into any arena and show everybody why he's the best point guard in basketball. So everybody in the West, including LeBron James, has to look out for the Oklahoma City Thunder this year, because you got Hartenstein knocking out boards. You got a coach that loves this basketball team. You have a coach that believes in this basketball team. So Oklahoma City Thunder, you guys are going to be a tough team to beat, because you got everything going for you this year, and you guys are a year older. Houston. Would have thought the Houston Rockets going to be there. Houston Rockets, 2 seed. Houston Rockets playing with who? A bunch of guys that are averaging 20 points. A bunch of guys that are averaging 5 to 8 rebounds. A bunch of guys that are averaging 2 to 6 assists. That's team. That's basketball. That's what this team is doing. Houston got there because of team basketball. If you ask me to name the starting 5 of the Houston Rockets, couldn't tell you. If you ask a Houston Rockets fan, I bet he could tell you. But the Houston Rockets did it this year with a bunch of guys that are averaging points and averaging. Not one guy, not 2 guys, the whole team. They're all doing it on a high level. They're passing, they're getting rebounds, they're playing defense, and they're playing offense. So the Houston Rockets, good luck to you guys, because you have all the things you need to make some noise in the playoff, but I don't think you got enough to beat the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, to the Lakers. Like I said before, the NBA fixed that trade. They want the Lakers to be relevant again. They want LeBron James to march off into the sunset with another championship ring. They want it so bad that they made an overnight trade that sent the second best player in basketball to the Lakers to go play with LeBron James. Bronny James. The rest of that team. They might be relevant now. They might have enough firepower. They might have enough energy in Luka. They might have enough, veteran presence with LeBron James. They might have enough young energy with those young 3-pointers. But you know what? If they do win a championship this year, just know in the back of your mind that, again, LeBron James strikes again, and he cannot do it on his own. He needs people that are just as good, not better, No, but I am going to talk about a player right now that at the end of his career, if he doesn't get hurt, he might be better. Because the Denver Nuggets, if you're a fan of basketball and you live in Colorado and your favorite team is the Denver Nuggets, you guys are witnessing something. And if you love basketball, like I love baseball, I watch every single baseball game. If you're a basketball fan in Colorado right now, and your team, the Denver Nuggets, is on every night and you're not watching, what you guys are watching out there in Denver, Colorado is one of the greatest all around big men you're ever going to see play the game of basketball. He's doing it at such a high level. He's doing it to a point where if you watch a Denver Nuggets game, you'll see maybe he's not scoring. But you know what, though? Holy shit, he just knocked out 10 assists. Or you might see that he's scoring a lot. Or you might see that he's getting rebounds. This man is going, he's going to average a triple double. Okay. He's got 34 triple doubles this year. And if you don't know who I'm talking about Jokic, the Joker. Okay. Now he had a game a couple of weeks ago where he had 31 points, 21 rebounds, and 22 assists. It's the first ever to do it. Okay. First ever. That's ridiculous. When you're watching these games, you're looking at him. How does he get it? Like, doesn't even look like he's doing much. You know why? Because whatever the team is lacking, he kicks back and he does. If their team is scoring, he's going to feed the ball 20 times. If they're shooting, he's going to rebound the ball. He's going to rebound the ball 15, 16, 17, 18 times. This is what's going to happen. You cannot let Jokic out of your sight for anything. Because what he's not doing on offense, he's doing on defense. He's the first player with the most total points, rebounds, and assists in a postseason. First player with at least 10 triple doubles in 7 seasons in a row. This is going to be his 8th in a row. The first player to have a 30, 20, 10 in the NBA Finals. First player to have 20 points, 15 rebounds, and 15 assists in 30 minutes of a basketball game. First Nugget to ever win the MVP. He's got 3 MVPs right now. 3, going for his 4th. It should have been his 5th. The only reason they didn't give it to him is because they give it to him every year. The guy is the MVP of the league every single year. And when you watch a Denver Nuggets basketball game, you just look and be like, how does he do it? Jokic is 30 years old. He's been in the league 10 years. He's got a lot of points. He's got a lot of triple doubles. He's got a lot of everything. I know he's a center, and I know he's not going to be able to do this for another 10 years, but I want to fast forward this conversation and get back to it. What are his numbers going to be like when he's around for 20 years? How many MVPs is he going to have? Is he still going to be in Denver? Is he going to bounce around? I don't know what's going to happen with Jokic, but all I can tell you right now is if you're a basketball fan, you live in the state of Colorado, and you live in Denver, or you're just a fan of basketball, or if you're just somebody that's from Serbia and lives in this country, or if you're in Serbia and you're watching this guy, we're watching greatness. We are watching one of the most, elusive, one of the most sharp shooting, one of the strongest rebounding players ever to play. Now look, go one-on-one, I'm taking Shaq. But you know what though? Shaq will beat the shit out of Jokic. Jokic just step back and smash a 3 in his face. So again, the fact that we compare the greatest of all time, the fact that we say this person is the greatest of all time, we got to start talking about eras. And we have to start talking about the way they played the game. Because Jokic, you, my friend, are going to go down in history as one of the greatest players of all time. And you're going to quietly do it because you know why? Because you're just going to accept the accolades. You're going to shake somebody's hand. And when you're done dominating the NBA in the United States of America, you're just going to disappear into a farm, never to be heard from again. Because that's what you're going to do. You don't like any of the lights. You don't like any of the pomp and circumstance. You don't like people telling you how great you are. Luka loves that stuff. Luka loves the spotlight. Luka's hot mom loves the hot spot, loves the spotlight. You're in LA now, bro. Shine. Luka, outshine your man. Outshine LeBron. But I know that's not a good thing to say because you guys are teammates. Instead of outshine, say, help LeBron win one more championship. If you say, maybe Denver and the Lakers might meet in some kind of playoff matchup where one goes home and one goes on. The Denver Nuggets are probably not going to win a championship this year because there's a lot of other things that are involved here because there's a lot of players and a lot of teams that are playing really well. And I don't think Jokic could do everything on his own, but he's really going to try. In Denver, do anything you can to hang on to that kid for as long as possible. And he'll be a legend. He already is, but he'll be a legend. And let's go, Denver. And let's see what you guys could do in the playoffs. You got the Clippers. The Clippers are an interesting team because the Clippers have two players that have been riddled with injuries their career. You have one player that literally, if he doesn't feel like playing, he just says, I don't feel like playing. And either he fakes an injury or he gets fat. You have Kawhi Leonard, who he said sometimes. That's what they said. I get it. A little mental health gets to that guy every once in a while. He's quiet. It doesn't make him a bad person. He's a great player. James Harden and Kawhi Leonard, Clippers. That's an interesting dynamic there. They played well. They played well enough to get a 5 seed. But let's see how the two of them handle a playoff series against a really strong defensive team. Because if you get a team that plays defense, and if you get a team that could knock Harden down a couple of times and get him frustrated, if you get a team that could kind of disrupt his shooting a little bit, you also got to look out for Kawhi, but maybe Kawhi will just kind of feed off that energy, and maybe the Clippers will go down because of that. But if you get James Harden and if you get Kawhi Leonard on the top of their game, you got to watch that night where they score 80 points between them. So the Clippers are definitely an interesting team. You got to take a look at them. But with Kawhi Leonard and James Harden, it definitely all matters on how they are playing and if they're involved and if they want to play. This team is somebody in the West that I'm actually pulling for. This is a team that has age. This is a team that's won a lot of championships. This is a team that has probably one of the most successful coaches, I would have to say, in NBA history. Maybe not the greatest, but successful. They have a player that is, in my eyes, the greatest shooter, the greatest shooting guard, maybe, or the best shooting point guard ever to pick up a basketball. Steph Curry needs another championship. Steph Curry beat my Celtics 2 years ago. As a matter of fact, they embarrassed my Celtics 2 years ago. Steph Curry can still do it. Steph Curry doesn't need another championship. I'm sure he wants one. Steph Curry wants one and needs one because I want him to have more than LeBron. Now, look, Steph Curry, to me, he's an anomaly. I mean, look, let's be honest. The guy could shoot the ball from anywhere. The guy could shoot a 3 from net to net. The kid has heart. The kid has drive. The kid's a little smaller than normal point guards, but you know what? He shoots the lights out. He's got a lot of championships. He's got MVPs. He's got finals MVPs. He belonged to a team that was not bought, but they were drafted. He's played with Klay Thompson. He's plays with Draymond Green. He's played with that other guy, Kevin Durant. Is another one who needs other people to win. But at the end of the day, Steph Curry is a guy that could take a game over, he could take a series over and score 50 or 20 assists or 15 threes in a row, 20 threes, whatever he needs to do to win. So when you have a mindset like Steph Curry, and you have a player like Draymond Green who literally said that they are going to win the championship this year, listen, Draymond, bring that energy. But don't be starting no shit. Don't get thrown out of games. Because with you staying on the court and not talking shit, listen, talking enough shit, but don't get kicked out of games. And then you got playoff Jimmy as opposed to non-playoff Jimmy. Golden State Warriors could win a championship this year. So look out for Golden State because with their veteran presence, with Curry on the court, maybe to, shake Shai Alexander up a little bit and see what greatness really looks like when you're done. Golden State Warriors can win a championship this year. And Steph Curry will go down in history as the greatest point guard of all time. So that's about how I feel about what's going on in the NBA right now. The NBA right now is going to get very interesting. The NBA, I think, is going to be won by a team in the West. And I think the NBA is going to be, they have to do something about the NBA, about the games, because I love the NBA. I really do. I love the documentaries about them. I love the discussions about toughness. I love the discussions about eras. I love the discussions about the greatest players of all time. But you have to start putting a product out there where players are going to play 82 games. Uh, and that's my whole argument with the older players versus the newer players. And I understand that the newer players are better athletes. But how could you say they're better athletes when they need nights off? How could you say they're better athletes when they don't play a full 100% for 82 games? Guys back then, they toughed it out for 82. They ran for 82. They never made excuses and they toughed it out. So at the end of the day, is it mental toughness? Is it physical ability? Is it will? What makes you the best? What makes you the greatest? What makes you that person or that team that's above and beyond everybody else? Stats, you could say, okay, they're stats. All right. LeBron James scored the most point ever. Now, again, I'm not taking away from anything that he's probably the greatest, statistically, the greatest basketball player that ever lived. But is he the greatest athlete? Is he the greatest mindset? Is he the greatest person to look at when you say, was that person truly great? A lot of stuff goes into that. So, players, you got your big boy pants on. The NBA playoffs are starting. It's long, it's arduous, but one team is going to come out on top. One team is going to come out victorious, and one team is going to come out carrying that trophy off the court. I just don't want it to be the Lakers. Look, if it's the Celtics again, I'd be happy with that. I'd like to see maybe Curry walk off with a title. Maybe Oklahoma City, the youngsters over there. Maybe Jokic gets another one. He's got one. Maybe he gets another one. But I think that's out of the realm of possibility because there's a bunch of teams right now that are playing together and they're playing good basketball. All right, guys. So sat here for an hour and 2 minutes. That's exactly what I want to do. And this is the Mostly Sports Talk Show. I got into some baseball. I got into some NBA. And this week we're going to do a little NFL. We're going to do an NFL draft. That'll be Tuesday night. But join me next time for the Mostly Sports Talk Show. And I am Rich Murphy, and I'm signing off. And thanks for listening. All right, guys. Thanks for listening.